Hi, I'm Maria. Growing up in a cozy suburban home, I always felt overshadowed by the towering presence of my older sister, Mary. Our parents adored her, hanging on her every word, while I was just the other daughter. One fateful night, Mary's jealousy took a dark turn. I awoke to a cold draft and the sharp snip of scissors. My heart pounded as I touched my head, only to find my long, cherished hair brutally chopped and scattered across my pillow. There stood Mary, scissors in hand, a twisted smirk playing on her lips. "Mary, what have you done?" I choked out, tears filling my eyes. "Oh, come on, Maria. It's just hair. It'll grow back," she said dismissively, twirling the scissors like a prize. I couldn't comprehend her cruelty. In a daze, I rushed to our parents' room, desperate for justice. "Mom, Dad, look what Mary did," I cried, holding up the severed locks, my voice trembling. But they were groggy and irritated, hardly sympathetic. "Maria, it's the middle of the night," Dad grumbled. "This is ridiculous." "Please, Mom, you have to see what she's done to me," I begged. Mom sighed, rubbing her temples. "Can't this wait till morning?" "No, it can't," I protested, the weight of betrayal crashing over me. As the argument escalated, Mary waltzed in, playing innocent. "I was just trying to help her," she said sweetly. She always complained about how long her hair was. "Help? You call this help?" I was incredulous. Our parents exchanged weary glances. "Maria, maybe she was just trying to." "To what, Mom? Ruin me?" I cut her off, feeling the sting of injustice. The room's tension thickened as I pleaded for understanding, but Dad's voice boomed with finality. "Maria, that's enough. We won't tolerate this ingratitude and disrespect." "Disrespect?" I echoed, my voice breaking. "I'm the victim here." Mom's ultimatum was ice cold. Either apologize to Mary or leave. Apologize? For being attacked in my sleep? The unfairness was suffocating. My heart shattered as I realized I was alone, even among my own family. With tears streaming down my face, I grabbed a few belongings and stepped out into the night. The door slammed behind me, echoing my devastation. Alone and betrayed, I wandered through the silent streets, my suitcase my only companion. When I reached Lena's apartment, it felt like a beacon in a storm. She opened the door, her eyes widening in disbelief. "Maria, what on earth happened?" "They kicked me out," I said, the tears spilling over. Lena ushered me inside, offering a safe harbor as I recounted the night's events. Her shock turned to outrage. "Stay here as long as you need," she said firmly, but staying wasn't enough. I needed to find my footing, so I threw myself into work, waitressing by day, cashiering in the evenings, and dog walking on weekends. The grueling hours slowly nurtured a sense of independence. Then one day, Mr. Jacobs walked into the diner. An elderly man with kind eyes, he always left generous tips. "You're such a hard worker, Maria. Ever thought of a quieter job?" he asked. "A quieter job?" I echoed. "My bookstore," he replied. "I could use someone trustworthy to help run it." His offer was a lifeline. Working at Jacob's Books felt like coming home. Surrounded by the musty scent of old books, I found solace. Mr. Jacobs believed in me in ways I never believed in myself. "You're meant for bigger things, Maria. Don't let this define you," he'd say. His words echoed as I sat across from Miss Turner, a sharp-minded legal advisor recommended by a bookstore regular. Her office was cluttered with books and legal files, a testament to her busy career. "Your parents kicking you out like that? It's not just morally wrong, it's legally questionable," Miss Turner said, poring over the notes I'd made. "So there's something I can do?" I asked, hope mixed with uncertainty. "Yes," she said, "but it'll require work, evidence, documentation, anything to support your story. It's your word against theirs. But if we can prove a pattern of behavior, we might have a case." I left her office not just with advice, but with a mission. In my small rented apartment, I began meticulously documenting everything: text messages, emails, any scrap of evidence that could illuminate the mistreatment I had endured from my family. But gathering evidence was just the beginning. I needed a plan that would bring everything into the open and force my family to confront the consequences of their actions. My nights were spent researching, my days focused on assembling information. I reached out to old friends and neighbors, carefully building my case. Each piece of evidence was like a brick in the fortress I was constructing. Document everything. Leave no stone unturned, Miss Turner advised in our weekly meetings, so that's exactly what I did. As my plan took shape, I felt a transformation within me. I was no longer just a victim of my circumstances. I was the architect of my destiny. The girl who had been cast out was now ready to stand her ground. I was determined to bring the truth to light, no matter what it took. Months of preparation led to this moment. My plan was meticulous. Every detail had been carefully thought out. The evidence against my family was compiled, a blend of solid proof and strategic tactics. I started with Mary. She had a knack for twisting reality, especially on social media, where she curated her perfect life. I monitored her posts, knowing her image was her greatest pride. Mary loves the spotlight, I murmured to myself. Let's give her a show. I began a subtle campaign, posting old photos of us with cryptic captions, missing the sisterly love. People took notice. Questions were asked, and whispers began to circulate. I carefully shared stories and evidence with mutual friends, never revealing too much at once. Mary's pristine image began to crack. Simultaneously, I assembled a legal arsenal, old email exchanges, voicemails, medical records, anything that illustrated years of favoritism and neglect. Miss Turner was instrumental, guiding me through the complexities of the legal system. The stronger your case, the harder they'll fall. Maria, she encouraged. With everything ready, I waited for the perfect moment, our extended family's annual reunion. It was the ideal stage, an audience composed of everyone who needed to hear the truth. As I walked into the gathering, I felt the tension. Mary greeted me with a forced smile, while my parents barely hid their disdain. Dinner was a haze of superficial conversation and strained politeness. Then, as everyone settled in the living room, I stood up and cleared my throat. The room grew silent. I have something to share, I began, my voice unwavering. I recounted the hair-cutting incident, the years of neglect, the night I was thrown out. With each word, the tension in the room thickened. My parents and Mary sat frozen, their faces a cocktail of fear and anger. Maria, what is this nonsense? Dad spluttered. It's not nonsense, Dad. It's the truth. I held up the evidence, photos, emails, testimonies. The reality laid bare sent the room into chaos. Disbelief and outrage erupted. Mary, how could you? One aunt exclaimed. Maria, why didn't you ever say anything? A cousin asked, aghast. Amid the uproar, I made a call. Miss Turner, I said, my voice steady. It's done. They know everything. Good, she replied. I'll take it from here. As the night unraveled, the facade of my perfect family crumbled. Legal proceedings were initiated, and my family's reputation was left in tatters. For the first time, I felt a sense of closure. The road ahead was still long, but justice was within reach. The courtroom, a stark contrast to the chaotic reunion, felt both intimidating and empowering. Everything was calm and orderly, yet charged with anticipation. I sat next to Miss Turner, composed but anxious. Miss Turner, are we ready for this? I whispered. We've been ready, Maria. Today, justice will be served, she replied, giving me a reassuring smile. As the judge called the court to order, the silence was deafening. Miss Turner began our case with a calm, confident precision, presenting the emails, the photos, the testimonies. Each piece of evidence drove a nail into the coffin of my family's lies. My parents and Mary sat next to their lawyer, their faces reflecting a mixture of anger and fear. Mary cut her hair in her sleep. Miss Turner recounted firmly, and when Maria sought support from her family, she was thrown out like a criminal. The judge listened intently, occasionally nodding as the story unfolded, gripping the courtroom. When it was my family's turn, their lawyer attempted to minimize the events, dismissing them as ordinary family disagreements. It's just sibling rivalry, he argued. Sibling rivalry? I blurted out, unable to contain myself. They left me homeless. The judge cautioned me to remain quiet, but I could see a hint of sympathy in his eyes. The proceedings dragged on, yet with every word spoken, the truth became increasingly undeniable. In the end, the judgment was swift and just. My parents and Mary were found guilty of emotional abuse and wrongful eviction. The sound of the gavel striking was like music to my ears. Outside the courtroom, I was greeted by a crowd of supporters and curious media. The story had resonated with the public, a tale of family betrayal and a battle for justice. Maria, "How do you feel about the verdict?" a reporter asked. "Relieved," I replied, feeling the weight of years finally lifting off my shoulders. "And hopeful. This isn't just my victory. It's for anyone who has ever faced family injustice." In the weeks that followed, I turned my story into a force for change. I spoke at events, joined support groups, and worked alongside Miss Turner to assist others who were grappling with similar family legal issues. My life had taken an unexpected path, but I embraced it wholeheartedly. From the depths of despair, I had emerged stronger, more determined, and empowered. I found peace not just in the justice that was served, but in the knowledge that my story could inspire and uplift others. My family faced the consequences of their actions. Their once perfect image was shattered. I didn't rejoice in their downfall, but I did feel a sense of closure. Looking forward, I knew the road wouldn't always be easy, but I was prepared for whatever lay ahead. The toxic people in my life had faced their karma, and I, Maria, had found my triumph. And now, I have a question for you. If you were in Maria's position, would you have chosen to legally confront your family, or would you have sought a different path to find closure and move on? This choice is full of emotional and moral complexities. What would you do and why? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please share your opinions in the comments.